Well, here we are again, the Diablo 3 Season 22 tier list. If you don't know what this is just a video of me explaining where I think all the builds rank. This is not an absolute mathematical nerd level tier list. There will be some nerding out, all right? But it's gonna, number one, have overall badassery. Number two, I'm gonna take into account the user experience, what I feel you guys will feel playing the build. Also, I take into consideration the early potential all the way up to late game potential based on my 10,000 plus hours in the game playing all the builds. This list will not cover every variation either. There's tons of builds out there. It would be hours and hours long. Every build that we're going to talk about today can easily do a GR 120 with little to no augments. So a little or low amount of augments would be something like in the B tier, right? You just need like maybe some 70 augments in there, like, you know, less than 1,000 Paragon, right? No augments to do a 120 would be something really high, like in the A tier, A plus, S tier. Something really high can easily do a 120 with no augs. Every season, we usually will clear like around 120 within the first 24 hours of a season. So it's like that, you know, with S tier, you don't really need those augs or anything like that. And as you go down to B tier, you might need to add a few of them, but everything presented here today is awesome. People ask me all the time where I put my builds, and they're right here on my website, bloodshed.com. This is like a power ranking system. As the season progresses, a lot of times we get new metas evolve, new builds emerge as thousands of players race through Sanctuary and experiment and test things. New variations become available all the time. So all you have to do is hover over D3 content and you can see all the builds here for you. You can see them all ranked in the tier list. And I have speed builds, like torment builds, right? So if you need speed builds, I have GR speed builds. If you need GR speed builds, bounty builds, pretty much try to encompass the whole experience for you guys. And it's all here on the website, totally free. I flirted with the idea of showing you guys little by little and kind of build up suspense all the way to the S tier. But I'm just gonna, you know me, man, I'm a straight shooter and I'm just gonna put it right here on the screen for you and let you take it in, okay? So just before you comment, just breathe and just absorb it. Also, if you could do me a huge favor and just throw a like on the video, that's the easiest way to support me. It just helps the YouTube algorithm and gets my video out to more Nephilims out there. If you want deeper breakdowns, I have video guides on almost every build on the website, and I'm gonna update the site to have like a little V icon for video so you can kind of just look at the video that way. But without further ado, the God DH. Insanely mobile, probably the fastest bounty build in the game, arguably the strongest solo push build in the game. Fast all around, the second fastest key farmer in the game. Just is able to do damage like the Tasmanian Devil, right? Spinning and winning. So, and it has like a bigger range than Whirlwind Barb. So you just kind of zip around, twirl around the rift and the greater rift and kill everything. The weaknesses, if there were any, would be maybe Rift Guardian potential, and it's not in the actual meta. But other than that, you know, in no particular order, leading off the S tier is the God Demon Hunter build. Up next, we have the AoV Satyr. So with the AoV Satyr, you are in the meta. You're not nearly as fast as the God DH, but having that meta slot, you know, ensures that you get groups, and it's kind of nice to lock it in there. I mean, you hit super hard. Like, you be destroying Rift Guardians, and, you know, it is the Rift Guardian killer for 4 men. So you focus on Heaven's Fury, right? And that's mostly for solo pushing and group play. But when you do speeds, the set also buffs Fist of Heavens. That's the big lightning Thor from the heavens, striking your foes. So with that in particular, that's insanely good for speed runs. So we were consistently getting like 1.5 to 2 minute clears, even on horrible maps. With Pony and Fist of Heavens, it's mega consistent. You can farm your own Paragon. Everything in the S tier you can farm your own Paragon with, by the way. But yeah, it's still really good with Fist of Heavens. Fist of Heavens falls off a little bit, like in the 105 to 110 range, but you'd be just doing insanely fast, 100 speeds solo without much effort. Spirit Barrage, Witch Doctor, man, we love Spirit Barrage even before it got a set. We used to play it back when it was just LOD or the Lawn Rings even. So yeah, the Mundanugu Spirit Barrage build for Witch Doctor, it's right here. It's insanely powerful. It only gets better this season. All the builds on the list get better because of the 4th cube slot, and you're like the Crusader. You're moderately mobile because you can use Severance for speeds, or you can use Jaunt for like higher level stuff when you want to stay alive. This is an insanely good trash clearer. Now, sometimes it does lag, and that might cause issues with some computers, some connections. Sometimes the servers are just old, man, and they just get beat down. But you're about the second best wave clear, probably the second best, with Necro probably taking #1 spot. Fast, you can rock Mundanugu for speeds, which we're getting under 2-minute clears for speeds. You can run pug groups because Witch Doctor is kind of tanky because of Jaunt. You have immunity for 3 seconds. You're able to kind of dodge damage and deflect a lot of stuff. And then with the seasonal theme, you can wear the Booze Juicer now and get the Phlebotomize rune, which heals you for an insane amount. So that's really good right there. The Bone Spear Necromancer, man, arguably the strongest build in the game. Also insanely powerful. They not only buffed the Bone Spear set, which with the Masquerade of the Burning Carnival is what it's called, it was kind of super weak. It was like in that off-meta obscure tier last season. So this might get the award for one of the biggest glow-ups, right? From like B tier, B+ tier, all the way to S tier, the Bone Spear Necromancer build. It's more like a sniper build, right? It's like what Dagger Darts looks like, where you have all your fetishes shooting darts at the target. Well, Bone Spear is basically, it throws out 3 big ones. Right? It's like having the 3 Big Daddy spears going at one. It's insanely good single target and really good multi-target. It has a similar mechanic to the God DH. When God DH spins, it has this ability called Hungering Arrow. When Hungering Arrow passes through mobs, it gets more damage, more enemies it passes through. That's kind of like how it works with Bone Spear Necro. You group them together with Brig's Wrath, and then the Bone Spear passes through them, and then Blight Spear does 15% more damage for each enemy it passes through. So it's just like, boom, right? And it's a really fun build. It's actually tanky for a Necro build, which is insanely crazy to say because they've notoriously been the biggest, squishiest class for the longest time. I'm going to main Bone Spear on launch night, and I'm going to branch out and play other builds. So it's a great start. You get the Corpse Gauntlets at level 1. I mean, this build would be the overall winner for Season 22. Not only do you got your bracers buffed, you're tanky, you're mobile, it's good for speeds, good for even pugs. Now, I guess the downside would be Bone Spear is technically not in the meta also. So all these builds have like a downside. But for me, I play mostly solo and solo self-found and chill and things like that. So it works out great in that regard. Up next, we have the Lawn Twister build. Twister got a lot of love this season. They changed the edge sigil from like all damage to just Twister damage. They buffed the Twister sword, and we're able to rock Lawn with that and get some nice juicy tankiness as well. When you think about Lawn these days, you think about you get to wear Stone Gauntlets. Yeah, and that's pretty much the case here. You get to rock Stonies. You got the Ashnagars. This is really, really tanky build. Super easy to play. This would be the only dark horse on the S tier where it might be A tier, not S tier, because Blizzard keeps changing it. Like they doubled it, and they reverted the change. Then you're able to stack Twisters, and then you're not able to stack Twisters. And then they gave us the Wicked Wind rune. I feel like this one, it's really the one on the list that I think you'll love. If you're playing solo, you won't even notice it, but if you're in group play, it causes lag in groups. These old servers, like we talked about, there's a lot of calculations when that twister is spinning, and it's causing a lot of issues for the servers. It's basically, you can't even play it in groups, essentially. It's so much lag. But for solo, you don't feel the lag whatsoever. At least I don't. I have no issues with it, and everyone that reported it said they had no issues as well. So this is in the S tier because of it's super tanky. It's super easy to play. You can't really mess it up. And I believe it has super S tier potential and S tier feel of that badass array we're talking about. And I will play this on stream after Bone Spear. They have the same main stat, intelligence, right? So I'll kind of easily transition. And that's why I did put it after it, because it's going to go Bone Spear and then Law Twister for blood. Up next is Shenlong Tempest Rush. Okay, now this is with the Patterns of Justice set. This is specifically Shenlong. Okay, Shenlong got buffed, and with the cube season, we're able to rock Shenlong in the set and put like the other items in the first weapon slot and the fourth weapon slot, right? So it's crazy powerful. The only problem is, right, there's a dark horse kind of, a dark cloud. I say dark horse, it's like a dark cloud looming because Shenlong's is really buggy and Blizzard hasn't fixed it. And you can go from being a god one pack to completely cucking your whole combo the next pack. It kind of makes up for it. It's still S tier because when it does hit, you have like that god damage. You will see, in my opinion, something 145 plus, possibly 150. Shenlong is also in the running for the strongest build in the game if you don't get your Shenlongs to bug out. Crazy, crazy powerful, right? Harder to play than the normal version because of managing the Shenlong effect. It drains all your resource, you know, and then you get your damage. So definitely hard to play. Maybe the hardest build on the list right here to play in the S tier anyway. And then we have Old Reliable. You know, we had Twister being a dark cloud. We had Shenlong, you know, maybe not always dropping that DPS. And then what do we have? Old Reliable Mr. Whirlwind Barbarian. Man, one thing I get a lot of questions on Whirlwind Barb is why the chain blood? Why are you using the weapon chain or whatever with Barbarian? And it's really because you're able to get a big open map, right? Pull all the density together, kill it all, and then what happens? There's probably a pesky elite that refuses to die. And then, so what you can do is leave that elite and then throw your chain, pull them with you to the next pack. Where a lot of classes, you have to like hope the AI follows you, trying to get them to, trying to mob manipulate them to follow you to the next pack. Barb is like, I am consent, I'm taking you with me, right? So the Whirlwind Barb basically can drag enemies through the rift. That's the long story short. And yeah, I mean, insane for speeds. Oh, also, Shenlong with Paj. Paj is like insanely fast. I can cover the speed build. So Shenlong, insanely fast for speeds. Lawn Twister, horrible for speeds. Horrible, right? Sorry about that. And then, so Whirlwind Barb. Whirlwind Barb can, it's like a twisty build, right? Like where you're spinning like God DH. So Whirlwind Barb basically is super fast. Whirlwind Barb is also in the meta, so you have that going for you as it's a support role. But you can do groups, you know, Focus and Restraint can be used because of the cube season. And we ran this back when we had our first cube season, and it was really fun to run Barb speeds like for pugs and casual pugs. And of course, you're tanky and mobile, and those are like the best staples for any build. Right? And then we have Lod Scythe, Poison Scythe / Melee Mancer. This should be the group wave clear for next season. So you have that going for you. It's hella slow compared to like Bone Spear. But, you know, you got that meta spot, and you can just maybe farm Lod Scythe gear while you're playing Bone Spear, right? Because you get the Bone Spear set for Hadric. But if you want to go straight into Lod Scythe, you can. You get the Lod gem really early on every season. Lod hits like a truck if you haven't played it. One of the downsides would be also, you know, those freaking simulacrums die a lot. With Bone Spear, they're like, basically don't die, and then with Lod Scythe they have a chance to die. So you have to manage your clones a little bit better with the Lod Scythe version, and it can get problematic. It pisses people off, and there's some builds that just really get people angry, and the simulacrums dying with Lod Scythe is a problem. But when you play anything in this S tier, Lod Scythe included, it feels like an S tier build. You're like, man, is this broken? Like you kind of like, wow, right? You get that feeling. You get that feeling when you play these builds. So even though there are some issues with them, if you want something to play where you're not going to have any issues whatsoever, I would say God, AOV, Spirit Barrage, Bone Spear, Whirlwind Barb. That's like you should not get mad at these builds in the S tier anyway. So those are the editor's picks, and that wraps up the S tier. The supercalifragilisticexpialidocious tier, we should call it. Coming up next, you'll notice I did something I haven't done in the past, and that was add an A+ tier. And now I just felt like these builds are all A tier, but man, these ones are just a little bit overperforming, maybe due to the seasonal theme, maybe due to recent buffs, right? Just factors, right? So leading off the A+ tier, we have the Slander TR. Wait a minute, Blood, what the hell is Slander TR? Well, it's just like Shenlong Tempest Rush, but this is Slander Little Rogue Tempest Rush. Now, if you remember back in the S tier, you know, it was a long time ago, we said that Shenlong was really finicky to play, but Slander TR is Mr. Consistent. It really makes the build feel amazing. You're not as squishy with the build. You have reliable damage you can count on. It's way easier to play. It's almost like the complete opposite. Shenlong TR is like the high risk, high reward, big boom version, and Slander TR, right, the A+ tier version, is like the reliable version of it. And with the 4 slot in the cube, we can wear Slander Little Rogue instead of Shenlong, and it feels amazing. I put this in the A+ tier, one of the fastest speed farmers in the game. It was the fastest bounty build in the game until the God DH came along, and you know. Up next, we have Sun Wunko Tempest Rush, which it's kind of finicky to play, but it should have the same potential as Slander Little Rogue next season. It's another Tempest Rush version, but I just thought I would mention it because it does feel great. But I would play Slander. If you're listening to my tier list and you don't know which one you want to play Slander TR, right? And save some Shenlong weapons and try it out and see if you like it. If it's not for you, go back to Paj, Slander Little Rogue. No harm, no foul, right? Just keep some weapons. Up next, we have one of my favorite builds, if not my favorite build of all time in Diablo 3 already. And this is a new-ish set. It's the Frenzy Barbarian set. It's the Savage set. I'm kind of a savage person, people say. So this works out great why I like it so much, okay? Frenzy Barb is surprisingly sub 2-minute runs for speed runs. Surprisingly. You wouldn't believe it until you see it. Fast for speeds, not nearly as fast as Whirlwind, but it's up there. It kind of closes the gap a little bit. Some of the most insane Rift Guardian killing you'll ever see. Frenzy is like top 3 in terms of Rift Guardian killers in the game. Now, it doesn't hold a candle to, you know, the S tier, the AoV Satyr, but in Pugs, I mean, you'll shred the Rift Guardian. For solo on hardcore, I did a 120 against Vesalius, right? On hardcore with like, you know, I don't know, 70 Augs, and you know, hardcore is like a whole different ball game. But anyway, I beat Vesalius in like 25 seconds or something like that or less. It was pretty wild, right? You just really mop up Rift Guardians. If you were tired of getting bullied by Rift Guardians, damn it, maybe you're gonna play Frenzy. I have a video on this, and this is one of my favorite builds in the game. So, Akon Thorns. Now this was Mr. Fall from Grace. This was the strongest build we ever had in existence, and then Blizzard nerfed it a little too hard, I think. I put in the A+ tier not because it has A+ tier damage, but because it has A+ tier survivability and feel. Like, they retained the playstyle. If you don't know, it's like a bombardment playstyle with Thorns. So you just ride around and you jump on your pony. You're going to see a lot of ponies next season because they buff the Norvald set. Anyway, run around your pony, and then these big barrel spikes fall like every 4 seconds and just blow things up, okay? And yeah, they nerfed it basically. So it was like better than the God DH. Now it's in the A+ tier. I just think it still feels good enough, right? And then that's why this isn't just a mathematical tier list. Like, this is me playing it, feeling it out, and I think it deserves to be among the A+ tier builds. So yeah, tanky, mobile. You can run speeds, but you're kind of chained to that 4 second. Every 4 seconds, you get these bombardments, right? So whereas other builds, you can damage whenever you want on demand. So I think you'll like it if you want to play something different. This is basically like the 2020 version of Lawn Bomb Satyr for you OGs out there. Up next, we have Lod Corpse Explosion, another super favorite of mine. It is like insane for AoE, sub 2-minute runs. You know what I mean? It's really fast. The biggest downside to the build would be that it is a 2-minute cooldown build. You're basically waiting for Land of the Dead for pushing. For speeds, that's not a big problem at all. We can use Messerschmitt to lower the cooldown because we're killing so fast. You can use the golem to create corpses for you. The golem creates 8 corpses, and then that's enough to kill things. And then when you kill things, you get your cooldown from Messer to then get Land of the Dead back as soon as possible. So it feels really good to play. And once you get in the groove, and I have videos on this, and I'll, again, check the channel, and I'm definitely going to update the site this week. That's my big plan this week, is to get the videos on the website. So a lot of corpse explosion. You should try it. In the A tier, you might be like, is that Leapquake in the A tier, Blood? Yo, you really off the deep end, man. But no, I promise you, I feel like it has A tier feel. If you don't know, they put an 800% multiplier on the Leapquake item itself, and it's powerful. Like, I did a 110 with 800 Paragon, less than 100 gem levels, no augments, relatively easy. Like, and I was just sticking around, you know? And it's not the fastest speeds, you know? You can't really do pugs. I mean, if you make your own group, you can do anything you want. If you believe it, you can achieve it. But Leapquake, man, it's iconic. It's kind of an iconic build here in Diablo 3. We like it, you know? It's fun, and it's stronger than it's ever been before with the 4th slot and then the love that Blizzard gave it. Pretty cool. Bluddshed Shield is up next, and you can use like a lot of things with the build now with the 4th slot, and it just feels good. I started using Stone Gauntlets, even though Crusaders have a lot of survivability already. It feels great. I actually played Bluddshed Shield on the PTR. You know, we spent all 3 weeks and I tested everything, you know, and Bluddshed Shield felt really good. If you never played Kiwi Satyr or T-Bone Steak Mancer, the shield looks like a damn kiwi, and then the fire shield looks like a T-Bone Steak. So look at it. You might not be able to unsee it. Let me know in the comments below if you call it something else, because we usually call it Kiwi Satyr or something to that effect. Surprisingly fast for speeds, Bluddshed Shield. Another build that might surprise you guys. I did a video on this because I was so damn excited. Of the Roland Crusader build. Man, Blizz buffed the Norvald set. So what you do is you hop on your pony, and when you want to attack a mob, you push the attack button, and you get a buff for 5 seconds when you get off your pony. So you just use your pony between packs, jump off DPS, and then if you need another 5 seconds, just hop on for a split second, hop off, and you get a 500%, 400% damage increase. It's like a necro item where you get that generalized damage buff. And you would be surprised if you didn't see the footage. A sub 2 minute T16 runs, bounty runs, all around dope build. The Roland set has a 75% attack speed built into their set, which is like having Echoing Fury built into your set. It's amazing, and I think you'll love the Roland set next season. Lod Rapid Fire. This is kind of like if you never played it and you know you want to and you don't like God DH, this is opposite of God DH. This is you're a mobile turret build. You can't move. You're just sitting there. It's like a Contra. Well, I guess in Contra you can actually move. So yeah, this is like tower defense. So insanely tanky though. One of the most tanky builds in the whole game. A lot of rapid fire, and it's badass. I think it still retains the A tier power because it's insanely good. It's just a different playstyle, right? And then we have Veer's Archon. Man, so many people hate Veers when I talk about Archon, but you know, Veers is dope, man. And, you know, the speeds are sub 2 minutes. You can farm your own Paragon with Veers. It's just there's a lot of things to it, right? With the cooldown and getting your Chantoto stacks and getting your Archon stacks and getting double stacks to do your damage in your window and looking at all the stuff. But you can basically rock like COE and Unity in the build or something like that. So it's really good now. And I would recommend it, right, if you don't like the next thing I'm going to talk about. If you don't like Hydras and you want to be a being of power, then Veers might be for you. But Veers still is up there, man. I respect it. It's done some insane clears in the past, and it should continue next season if people play it. Hydra Typhon. Okay. So Blizzard decided to add Blizzard to Hydra now. So now they have to be affected by Blizzard. But they gave us a new offhand because they took away the Edge Sigil like we talked about earlier. So Hydra's different. And I'm going to try to get a video out on this before the season goes live. But I really, truly believe it has A tier feel to it. It's pretty insanely powerful. It does drop off, I think, after GR 140 pretty hard. But before that, I think you'll be pretty shocked about how strong Hydra's hit. People will sleep on this build for sure. And it maybe deserves to be in the A+ tier because it can hit really, really hard. They buffed the Hydra set. They gave it a new item. And like the way you play it seems really weird at first with how you have... they have to be affected by the blizzard, and then you have all these other things you have to look out for, like with your generators and things like that. So, but I will definitely cover it in the video. Hydra Typhon, keep an eye out for it. If you haven't played Hydra, Hydra's one of the most popular spells in Diablo, I would say. I would say it's like at least top 20, maybe Hydra's, right? And then we have Law Dagger at Darts. Yes, chat. Yes, YouTube, Twitch, whoever's watching. I did play Dagger of Darts on the freaking PTR and tested it, and it feels pretty smooth, man. With the extra cube slot, we're stronger than ever before. Dagger of Darts, all the little tiny darts shooting. You still have the same play style. It's just basically stronger than it was, and I think it bumped it up to that solid mid A tier. It might have been like low A tier before that, but now it's like solid A tier, and I think if you play anything from here, if you've been listening to me ramble on all these builds up to this point, A+, and S tier, like I said earlier, you will crush a 120. Like you'll get your season journey complete. You'll have fun. And finally, we have the B tier. Is anyone still B watching right now? Like we talked about, the B tier is still powerful. And Lod Hoda, it's like a big whack-a-mole build. Hoda smash. You get pretty good crits, and it's insanely easy to play, so you don't have to worry about that. For speeds, not there, but it's pretty good. Seismic Slam, I played a hardcore. You can actually watch a whole hardcore let's play of Seismic Slam. Seismic Slam gives me those vibes of like old school builds. It just looks like an old build, like from like, I don't know, like Diablo 1, Diablo 2. Just like the way it moves and feels, it feels like an old ARPG. I don't know what it is about it. It gives me those vibes, man. And it has like a 50-yard cone in front of your character. Lots of AoE, lots of damage. You attack so fast. You get like this blue glow effect with the cold rune. And we call it Super Saiyan Blue because you go like the next level Super Saiyan. It's pretty cool, man. And then we have Reikor Hoda. Don't play Reikor Hoda. I don't like it. This is my first build on the list. I don't really like. You have to like charge into a wall, animation cancel, and all this stuff. But I thought I would put it here because it is stronger. It is. You got to put some respect on that DPS. I tested it. It hits pretty damn hard. Reikor Hoda is just like Lod Hoda. Lod Hoda, you sit there and you just hold down, smash, smash, smash. I'm tanky. And then Reikor Hoda is like, you have to like really manage your charge stacks and cooldowns and things. So yeah, it's like having the Shenlong version and the Slander version, right? Like one hits harder, but I put them both in the B tier because like they're not really that different. It's just Reikor has a little bit more potential. And then we have Condemn. Condemn, again, an oldie but a goodie. Using Condemn with the 4th slot, you're able to be stronger than you were previously. And yes, you can use the Norvald set if you wanted. And every Crusader build, just lock in the Norvald set, right? It's kind of like a Necromancer syndrome, right? Just, oh, we have a 4 slot? Okay, let's just slot in a damage thing in there. So hopefully D4 doesn't follow the same route of just logging in damage things. But yeah, what can I say about Condemn? It's actually a sub 2-minute speed build. You can farm your own Paragon. It has solid push potential. Invoker, it has a question mark because they buffed it when they nerfed the Akon Thorns, right? They buffed Invoker, but then they nerfed Akon Thorns with it because we were using the 4-piece Invoker with it. Invoker kind of got buffed, but I really couldn't place it. It doesn't feel as good as the A tier or A+ tier and so forth, but it definitely does not C tier. Like it's kind of like high B tier. Maybe if I had a B+, it might be a contender for B+. So maybe next season we'll break it down by pluses, As of right now, I'd probably put Invoker in the B+. And then we have Fist of Heavens. Fist of Heavens is the big Thor lightning from the sky that we talked about. This build I feel like is so slept on. Like, people don't know how fast it is for speeds. You can even farm Paragon with this, and with the Norvald set for Crusader, man, you should be getting like 2-minute 100 runs. I could see people rocking 2-minute 100s with Fist of Heavens for speeds. Like, you know, that a top end that are really getting the gear and the stat priorities and everything. So yeah, Fist of Heaven's pretty good. For pushing, it doesn't feel as great because it's just really kind of boring for pushing. But for people that always wanted, like we were supposed to get a Fist of Heaven set. Can I just say, Blizzard, hello? We were actually supposed to get a Fist of Heaven set and they turned it into a Heaven's Fury set. Now, it ended up being one of my favorite builds and playstyles, but yeah, if you want to live out that fantasy and you want to fist to your heart's content, you can, all right? The build is there on the site for you to check out. Shadow DH, insanely classic build here now at this point. Man, Impale, Shadow, this is basically, in Shadow means Impale, so this is a Shadow Impale Demon Hunter. Yeah, fun, strong single target. There is some kind of mastery to it because you throw out these 3 like daggers and you kind of have to line them up with the cold rune if you go cold rune. And you have like this game where you're trying to line up the density like a zombie game. Like when you're playing COD Zombies, you're trying to like, you know, pull them and line them up and then work on your combo through convention of elements. Shadow's kind of fun. And a lot of people tell me that they fell in love with Diablo playing Shadow. Like Shadow and multi-shot for sure. I get those a lot. People like DHs, and this build's fun to play. If you just somehow this fell through the cracks, I would make this one of your alt characters this season, or even make it your main. You know, it's pretty fun. N6M4. Now this is on the list because people love it as well, and they get to use the convention of elements again with the 4 slot in the cube. This is a really powerful build, but it's super methodical. It's like place turrets. It's kind of like, you know, with remember we talked about the LOD rapid fire build for Demon Hunter where you are the turret. With this N6M4, you're placing turrets all over the battlefield and DPSing, and it's really slow and methodical, but it does hit pretty hard. Solid beats here, man. And then we have UE Gen. You might be like, what the hell is UE Gen, Blood? If you didn't know, you can use Hungering Arrow with the UE set, right? But Blood, isn't UE a multi-shot set? No, it's not. It's a multi-shot. It also buffs your generators, right? It says, the first line on it says your generators and multi-shot, right? So you can use UE, Unhallowed Essence, right? And you can use it with Hungering Arrow, and you can focus on generators like with Depth Diggers and the whole 9, right? It's really good, actually. And this had a potential to be one of the best Demon Hunter builds. After patches and changes, it kind of fell out of the light, and I'm here to let you know if you want to play some unique generator build, you can play this. We're almost done, guys. All right, bear with me, okay? Wuko Wave of Light, man. Sun Wuko is good, dude. The set bonus is damn near 20,000, and it's fast, right? You can solo farm Paragon. It's the fastest T16 build in the game, because of basically the dash mechanic is godly, and then you drop Wave of Light and it's just screen clear, screen clear, screen clear. Wuko is like the fastest speed build in the game, as long as you pay attention, right? Because I say that not to knock Wuko, but you have to like really be on it to take advantage of the speed. You can't be like, you might not even pick up legendaries with Wuko, because you have Ingeom and you have to get to the next elite. So you got to just be really on it to take advantage of it. For most people, they'd be watching Netflix, they'd be watching twitch.tv/Bluddshed, you know, they'd be watching a lot of things, and they're not just totally focused on every aspect. And that's where some of the chiller speed builds come in, like Whirlwind and Paj and, you know, God DH even, right? So, but it is the fastest. I don't think anybody would really dispute Wuko Wave of Light. And it has some solid push potential, as you can see here. Up next, we have LOD Wave of Light, which is similar to Wuko Wave of Light. It's just tankier, does a little bit less damage, but it's tankier and more fluid, right? And then you might be shocked to see Yuliana in the B tier. I struggled putting Yuliana into the A tier because I feel like it has A tier potential. This would again be that B plus tier that we talked about. If you don't know, they put 100% damage multiplier on Gundo gear. So you can also get Gundo gear at level 1 while you're leveling, and you get some badass Gundo pops. Go Gundo pop. And the 4-piece has a survivability on it, which was one of our suggestions. So thank you, Blizz, for listening to our community. Yeah, I was like, can we get a damage reduction on the 4-piece Juliana? Because almost every other class has it built into their kit, and then we don't. And I said that would free up, slots that we can allocate toward damage. So I think that they didn't want to go crazy with Juliana. They wanted to see how far we can get with it. So I might actually push with my monk character Juliana just to kind of see and to push the potential next season. So you might see blood on some Yuli. We'll see. And then Lord Mages, man, don't play this build. All right, this is insanely squishy build. This is only for the true savages out there that don't mind getting one-tapped, clapped, and trapped. So Lord Mages is super squishy, but you can have perma Land of the Dead with the 4th slot in the season. You can rock Messerschmitt. So for speeds, all the way up to like probably 99s, and maybe like 104s possibly with enough power, you will have a really good time as long as, again, you have that cooldown and you keep up perma Land of the Dead. Everything's going to be basically helpless. They're going to be frozen. You're like the Night King, everything's frozen, you're just killing everything, right? But the second Land of the Dead drops, yeah, Arya Stark is gonna come and right? So yeah, Lord Mages. That's how you play Lord Mages. Guide over. Lord Corpse Lance. Okay, an obscure build, man. It's a 2-minute cooldown build. You have 10 seconds to, I can walk you through the rotation, right? I made this back in season 11 when Necro came out. This build has a lot of potential, and it probably deserves to be in the A tier. It's just like, who the hell wants to play this, right? So you pop Land of the Dead, you pop Simulacrum, you kill an enemy, right? You only have 10 seconds in Land of the Dead. You kill an enemy, that enemy pops an Oculus Ring, you jump in the Oculus Ring, right? And then from there you have whatever time is remaining, maybe like 8.5 seconds, 9 seconds, or whatever. You have to burst 2 elites in that time. And then everything's frozen because Land of the Dead, right? So you have to perfectly place your mouse cursor, and you know what I mean? The enemies can't be blocking. Sometimes the enemies be walking in front and right before you Land of the Dead, and then boom. So you have basically 10 seconds to kill 2 elites to make good use out of it, out of your cooldown. And there's so many things that can go wrong. You can have CC on your follower, they can break Land of the Dead. You can have any kind of CC on your gear that will break it. The get down, Mr. President, the other enemies like to walk in front, but like Shenlong before it, there is a lot of potential there, and we have done a 120 with Corpse Lance on hardcore, so it definitely has the power, but there's some problems that can happen. Another thing that should be higher is DMO Orb. Now this is like DMO Frozen Orb. They really buffed Frozen Orb this season, and I think it has higher potential. But again, like Corpse Lance, because I not only took into effect count like the math a little bit, the user experience a little bit, my interpretation of the builds a little bit, DMO Frozen Orb is just so frustrating. One Waller, it messes up your combo. Like anything, like any kind of CC, because Wizard's not immune to crowd control like a lot of other builds and classes are. You're so triggering, right? So you have to DPS in COE cycle. I guess with Corpse Lance that we just talked about, that has to be in COE too, by the way. So with DMO, you have to be 40 yards away to get the double pop of Frozen Orb. You have to DPS during cold cycle. They have to be affected by the slow time bubble. You have to have your 3 stack for Triumvirate up. There's probably more things that I'm missing, right? You have to have like this perfect storm, but when you do, it feels amazing, right? With Shenlong and everything, it feels like, the planets aligned, I'm a badass. But when it doesn't happen, oh man, I always, when I play DMO Frozen Orb, always tell chat I want to just delete my character because it's just high highs and low lows, right? So yeah. But I would play it if I had never played it before, because playing new builds is part of the experience, and we can bond through that kind of negative experience. How long is this video? Coming up next, we have the Jade. Jade's an oldie but a goodie. I put it here because it deserves to be in the solid B tier. It feels good. It's better with the 4th slot, and it's like our only really, is it like our only dot build? Kind of like you really dot everything and then you ignite all those dots and blow it up. I guess EP is kind of, I guess there's a lot of dots in the game, but this actually feels like a warlock or some kind of like a dot based class, multi-dot spec, right? You have Haunt and Locust Swarm and all this stuff. And then you consume all those dots and do these big booms. So Jade's pretty cool. And the speeds is kind of You can play like Jade Chicken, but yeah, not really. And then we have, this looks like it's an alphabetical order, zombie bears, man. Freaking zombie bears. I put in the B tier. It would be in the B plus tier because B for bears, right? This build is not interesting, to be perfectly honest. You just cast bears, man. What makes it interesting is that it's nostalgic AF for people like me who played it in vanilla, and maybe for people like you that played it in vanilla. If you didn't play this in vanilla, then you're probably like, what is this build, bruh? You just stand there and you hold down your bears and more bears spawn, more bears spawn. They actually added a bear offhand to the game, and they buffed the item, the weapon. So it actually, we did a 110 barely with the parameters I always use, right? 800 Paragon, less than 100 gem levels, no augments. So anybody can basically achieve that. Less than 800 Paragon, you know, less than 100 gems. Like, this is super budget. And we did a 110 with Zombie Bear. So this build went from literal obscurity, like a relic of the past back in vanilla, to now it's up here with freaking Juliana, right? And there is still things we don't know about zombie bears. I only had 3 weeks to test all these builds and 50 more builds you can't see here, right? So I wasn't able to I wasn't able to invest as much time into zombie bears as I would have wanted. So hopefully as the season progresses, you know, we get to see different variations of all these builds, and then always check the website for the latest and greatest, because I'm going to keep it updated for you. You know, and I'm going to play most of these myself. I'm going to play zombie bears, by the way, for Witch Doctor. So I will test these things and get back to you guys and let you know how it pans out, right? In conclusion, I hope you guys have an amazing season 22. I wish it wasn't cucked just a little bit by Shadowlands. Just a little bit. I'm going to play both during the season. I don't know how much. It'll be at least 50-50, but I might end up playing more Diablo because I'm a huge Diablo nerd and I can't resist it. But if you like WoW, I'll probably be playing Diablo in the morning and then WoW at night, right? Because a lot of my EU audience is up late. So I would like to maybe appease 2 audiences with 1 stream if I could. So I'll go live. I know you can't make everyone happy, right? But if I go live with Diablo during the season, then I get to stream for NA and EU, and then you guys can always watch the VODs. I will upload my Let's Play to YouTube, like I always do, but it really does kill my algorithm, like in terms of like views, and then they stop recommending my videos because I just be uploading all kinds of dumb shit like, Let's Play 27, Let's Play 28. But if there's likes on the videos, I'll keep doing it as long as I can, and then once I feel like, okay, this isn't working, I'm just going to put it on Twitch. So then you can go on Twitch and watch the VODs there. And I'll have it organized, right? I'll probably link it. I'll be like, hey, they're going to go here in this folder, and then you guys can still watch them. If you can't get Twitch at work, I'm sorry. It's just, yeah, even uploading it, it just really kills like the ranking and all that stuff for the videos. If you want to support, if you're still here, this is a long video I have to edit tonight. If you want to support, Twitch subs, YouTube paid subs, merchandise, follows, just liking the video it helps so much. It's like one little thing, but man, it really does help tremendously. Patreon, I pretty much have all kinds of stuff, and just look at the description, all right? Socials, man. Well, I got to get to making more videos. Hopefully I can do a few more videos before the season goes live. I definitely maybe want to get to Hydra and maybe some other off-meta builds. I had to cut off-meta week short. I cut off meta week early because I wanted to really focus on the tier list and get it right for you guys. But again, I can't go back and edit this video. I can edit the website, so check bloodshed.com. It's going to be moving constantly, and I'll keep it updated for everybody. That's going to be all for me today. I'm out of here. Peace out.